Very good evening, guys. Now I'm going to show you a demo on simple CRUD operation, which is developed on using Spring Boot to API, where we develop this application, and the application is here. You can see this is to do use here. We design MVC pattern. So for that, uh, separate package for every uh, class like model, repository, controller, and service. So this is the package to do user. You can see here I written some information like here we need some jar like Spring Data Web, Spring Data JPA, and SQL connector to uh, connect with the database. And if you are using void setter and getter and Spring Data JPA, here layer, just take the help of Spring Data JPA. Okay, and this is the entry point of your application. Your application gets started from here. You need to write one annotation at Spring Boot application, which auto configure 2-3 annotation, and I return and enable JP auditing whenever you want to any data is created or updated. So for that, return and enable JP auditing. We will see this one later. Now first understand is in CRUD operation. We have written some API in controller class, which is present in the controller package. So let's open this task controller. Now you can see in task controller we have several APIs written, and first understand this post mapping. If you want to store uh, any task, want to expose any this API at the post mapping. So what you will do first, we should know this at request mapping, like this controller where actually this controller is. So for that, to identify that, we have written at request mapping. This is a notation, just you have to write this annotation, and to know that this is a RESTful API, so you have to write at REST controller. Another one is at request at cross origin. This were written because my client here is Angular, so we are telling that this request is coming from this port to make identified. Now, if any request will come /task /create, so it will call this create task method, and then in create task method, I'm taking request body. So you're passing actually the data is coming from the JSON format, so it will be it's a default feature that automatically it will be converted into your Java object when you pass a JSON object. So this is the task as a variable are taken over here, and calling this service method create task. I can see in the service package there's a class called service NPL, and here is a method called create task. The create task is doing what? Taking the task object and calling the repository save method. So here we have written one more task repository as an interface, and this interface is again extends from JPA repository. It's another interface in which there are several inbuilt methods like save, find out, find by ID. There are many methods. So it's a we don't need to write any single query here, or we don't need to mention any method here because there's a method inbuilt method save. Automatically it will create one connection and it will save the report to the database and to your table. Now return one more API like update slash id. So it's a put mapping because you are updating. So to update, you have to write annotation like HTTP method at put mapping annotation slash update and passing id. So now I'm taking the whole object and plus this id. Based on this id, I'm passing this id in the update task by id. Again the same on this IMPL update task by id. Now first check if with the help of task repository, which is having inbuilt method find by id, pass this id. If id exists, then updated report, save it and give the message if it is successful or if it is not found, return the message. Now after this put mapping, we have one more method which is exposing delete. The delete mapping annotation where we have written task deleted method which is taking id and then again call the service deleted method by id, and in that service you can see that the delete method first again it will check in the repository because we are not writing any DAO layer separately. It's a Spring Data JPA. Just we need to extends with inbuilt interface like JP repository or code repository, and there's a method inbuilt method. This one is check whether the ID is present or not. If it is present, then delete that record. Now we have get mapping API. Again the same method. I'm writing task by ID, passing the ID and calling the service method, and that service method is calling again. Let's see, service method again calling the task repository. Now you can open again the task repository. There is no find by ID method because we are at a JPA which is having interface JP repository which is having inbuilt method. We need to write any query. Then I want to see all the records. So get mapping again, annotate with the get mapping. We'll call task service.task get all task, and that get all task will call the find all method which is there inside the repository, which will give you list of tasks that we are passing inside the response entity. So response entity is a class. Whatever request you are coming, you have to give the response. So for that response, we are taking a response entity and calling the OK. So now just understand more clarity, like we are using at AutoWire over here. This task controller class and the task service class. I want to create object of task service, but we are not writing any new keyword over here like this one. We are not writing new. Just wait. It's taking time. Okay. So we're not writing any new keyword over here. The Spring will understand that this with the help of AutoWire, it will create object of task service and inject into the task controller class. Otherwise, if you will create, then it will be a tightly coupling, and we are not writing the spring.xml file also. So for you the task service, and the same way here also you can see in the service IMPL we are read with the at AutoWire create object of the task repository and inject into the service task IMPL. We don't need to create any object. That's a good thing in Spring Boot. Now, okay, so what I will do, I will try to execute this project, and just let's see by using the UI how it's work. It will be a little bit more understanding. Right. Now I'm running the project, run as Spring Boot app. Once the project started, just go and open the console and check everything is okay. I'm opening the console. Just be patient a little bit because PC is very slow as of now. It's actually started, but taking time. Let me stop. I will start again. I don't know what happened. What happened? Yeah, it started now. Taking long time. Now you can see here Tomcat started. You don't need to uh, configure Tomcat. It's a while writing Spring Boot, it's inbuilt Tomcat and web application context, boot application context. Now you can see dialect, MySQL 8 dialect. Okay. Started application in 60.304 8080. Okay, so it's started. Now what we will do, so already you had seen that started. Now I'll go and open my Angular application to call some APIs to make understand clear. Okay, keep waiting. Yes, my Angular application